Hey guys, hi, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. So it's been about a week since I've talked to you guys. The last time you saw me, I was stuck on a roller coaster in Busch Gardens in Tampa. That was about a week ago. That was day 2 of a 4-day trip. The remainder of that 4-day trip was hellacious. I was already tired, mind you, from the 3-day trip I had just before that. I was already wiped out from that trip. And then I had this 4-day trip. That 24-hour layover, almost 25 hours, in Tampa was really a lot of fun. But we had a very early van time the next day. And trying to get to bed early during the day is hard enough. But when you add the fact that it's 3 hours earlier for me, because I'm from the West Coast, it just made getting to sleep really hard. It felt like I was trying to go to bed at 6:30 at night, or 6. I woke up East Coast local time at like 1 o'clock in the morning, just unable to sleep. And I had a 4:30 van time, so it was just awful. I struggled to sleep, and it didn't work. The next day was just hellacious, truly hellacious. We had a real long day. We had a turn from somewhere. I forget where we go. Austin? Yeah, I think we went to Austin and then back to Tampa, where we had I almost lied to you. I was going to say we had a 4-hour sit, but we had a 3-hour and 59-minute sit. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, that 1 minute. But if we had a 4-hour sit, our company would be obligated to get us a day room for us to rest during that long sit at an airport away from base. But since it was 3 hours and 59 minutes, they weren't obligated. It doesn't sound fair, and it isn't. But it's what I signed up for, right? I'm flexible, I love to travel, and I love people. Yeah. So we sat at the airport in Tampa for almost 4 hours. Thankfully, there's some good food choices, and my crew is pretty cool. 2 young ladies that are just really cool, had a good time. We didn't have the solidarity that sometimes you find with other crews, because they're both young and pretty, and I'm an old man, so they didn't really want to hang out with me, and that's fine. But we had a nice time. That 4-day trip led right into another 3-day trip for me. I picked that up from being sapped, if you watched that video about being sapped. So I picked up another 3-day trip that ended last night, and that was just grotesque. I can say that any challenges I had for that 4-day trip and then the 3-day trip, none of it was passenger originated. They were all spectacular. We did have 3 young men on our last leg back to Vegas that were drinking their own alcohol, and we put an end to that real quick. Yeah, that's really about it. So the passengers weren't challenges. It was just scheduling. We had short layovers that were reduced because of delays. We had one layover that was supposed to be just over 10 hours, and it was just barely over 9. And honestly, it could have been reduced even further legally. But, 9 hours is rough, because you're getting that's when, we land, and that door opens up, and that's rest. Just really rough. And coming back home was a relief, because boy was I tired. But I just missed Buddy so much. I just miss this damn cat when I'm not around. And he's been a real trooper, staying home as much as he has. Just remember, I had a 3-day trip, I had a 4-day trip, and then I had a 3-day trip. I did come home between those trips and let him out for a good long time, as much time as he needed. And he seems like a real trooper. But when I come home and I let him out and he comes back, he is very unhappy with me. And I am covered in little scratches in varying degrees of being healed. These 2, which are probably the most recent bad ones, are just healing now. Those are his teeth. He's really unhappy with me the first day after I'm back. Today he has been pretty chill, but he spent most of the day outside. He's outside now. And the challenge I'm having right now with Buddy is that the nicer the weather is, the better the more the weather improves here in Vegas, the less time he wants to be inside. I totally get it. I totally understand. As it is, he'll kind of sleep in late when I'm home. He'll sleep in late, and that lately, that's been like 5:30, 6 in the morning, and then he'll want to go out and he'll make his little noises, and I let him out. And he's out until probably 1 in the afternoon, sometimes as late as 2 in the afternoon. And then he wants to come back in and just sleep. We play a little bit, and he lets me rub him, and he'll bite me because I don't let him alone, because I'm always like on him. But he sleeps for a good 4 or 5 hours, and then he wants out again. So the hard part is, the nicer the weather is, the less I am his dad than I am being a base camp for him. It's kind of like having a teenager, I think, in that, you know, he's only home really to eat, drink, sleep, and go out again. So that's hard, only because I love him and I love spending time with him. I just like even having him lying around the house while I'm studying or playing a game. But he really wants to be outside with other cats, and I totally get it. I'm wondering, because I am going to have him neutered at some point soon. I'm wondering if some of that will change. But I just miss the little bastard. I just love him. But he's happy outside, and I don't want to make him unhappy, you know. And it's not fair to trap him in this little studio all the time. So we'll see what happens there. What else is happening? This is really just becoming a catch up with Steven video. All right, girls. How awful are men? Men are just garbage sometimes, aren't they? And you would think I would know, because, you know, being a man, sometimes I'm aware, and it's hard. Some guys are occasionally aware that they're jerks, and I am occasionally a jerk, and I can sometimes say that it's because I'm a guy. You know, where is this all coming from? About a year and a half ago, I had a layover. I was on reserve. I had a layover in Newark. And so I went into New York City that night, and I went out to this place I really enjoy in New York. And I met this guy. He's so handsome. He's fluorescently handsome. He is just abstractly handsome. He is Venezuelan, salt and pepper hair and beard, and he is, I don't like oversized muscular guys, but this guy is like an Adonis, and he's just built like just a brick house. Super handsome, and he's a doctor. He's I forget what kind of doctor he is, but super handsome. We had a really nice time that night, and I said, you know, hey, I'm going to be back in New York next week. Why don't we get together? And so we did. We spent most of the day together and had a really great, an amazing time. I thought we had a great time, and he has this like penthouse apartment. I mean, he's like a dream. And he really seemed to be into me. And we messaged back and forth for a few weeks, text back and forth, WhatsApp and all that stuff, and phone calls and videos and photos and phone calls and text messages. And he kept saying how much fun he had and how much he'd like to see me again. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. It's true love. I could be a doctor's wife. And then radio silence. Ghosting? Is that what it's called? You're ghosted? Nothing. I kept saying, so when we were talking, when we were chatting, he'd say, oh, when can you come back to New York? I'm like, I have all the time off in the world. Well, I had a lot of GDOs. I had, 8 days, 10, 12 days off a month on average. So I said, I can come into New York a couple times a month, if I want. So Whenever you're free, I can be free, and I could move movables. I would have done anything, honestly, because this guy is just, wow. And super, super nice. We had a really nice time, but he's gorgeous. Oh my God. And he's like, oh, great. Well, you know, soon. And then soon never happened. And I kept saying, hey, you know, I can come up this day or that day or this day. He's like, yeah, let's talk later. I'm like, okay. And just nothing. And I was just being like, you know, actually, it's the opposite of that. I was trying to do this, and he's like, I don't think so. And just radio silence after probably a month and a half, 2 months. Nothing. I haven't heard or seen from him since. And then last night, I'm in Las Vegas. Guess who I see? Yep. Handsome as ever. His eyes pass right over me. And so I walk up and I go, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you since New York. How have you been? He's like, oh, hey, how are you? And blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he has a bit of an accent. He's Venezuelan. And it was kind of loud. And I really didn't make out what he was saying. But whatever he said was followed up with, that's why I didn't message you. Now, I didn't really struggle to ask him what he had just said, because there's almost nothing you could say before that's why I didn't message you that would qualify me even wanting to know what you had to say. Blah, 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 that's why I didn't message you. Okay, I didn't really even need to know why he didn't. Yeah, and then what did he want to do? Oh, yeah, he wanted to snog. He wanted to kiss. No, thank you. I've already suffered you once. This ghosting or whatever. I was really bothered by it, as you can probably tell. But to see him all of a sudden, poof, so handsome, and then after being blown off so brutally, and then he wanted to get all kind of close, and I'm like, I really don't think so. I don't think so. Before having Buddy, I may have been desperate emotionally to be like, okay, I'll take what I can get. Now I've got a cat. I have all the emotion. It's like I don't need a boyfriend. I have a cat. But even now, he doesn't want me as much as he used to. I'm being ghosted by Buddy. So this is such as my life, you know. And this is already 12, 13 minutes long. As I'm telling you all these woes, this crappy week I've had, something I do have to point out is, you know, we were walking through, was it Orlando? We were walking through an airport. It was 5 a.m. We had a 5:10 show, and we were walking to the gate, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, we're all dressed up, super cute as flight attendants, pulling our luggage, heading off to fly off somewhere, you know. And at the same exact time, there were people who work in the airport, in the newsstands, in the sunglass hut, in the there was a Johnson & Murphy shoe store, whatever, a Swatch store, I don't know. But there were people opening up stores and serving coffee and selling newspapers at 5 o'clock in the morning in the airport. And I said to my coworker, and I said, as tired as we are and as rotten as this day is going to be, at least we're flight attendants. You know, as it's 5 o'clock in the morning and we're rushing off to work, but we're rushing off to do a job that's so much fun, that's really honestly so easy. And the rewards are so amazing. So as much as we were just not looking forward to that day, it was the day where we had to fly from like all over the place, a 4-hour sit, and then Pittsburgh. You know, as rough as that can be sometimes to not sleep and feel really awful, at 5 a.m., we're off to do something really fun, fantastic, and really rewarding. So I had to remind my coworker that, and I reminded myself of how lucky we are to be flight attendants. So I'm glad I had that thought after spilling all this negativity negativity in this video. I probably won't say hi to you guys or film anything unless something, you know, amazing comes to mind before the 14th of March. Today is the evening of the 10th because I have recurrent training, which is our annual recertification. And I am super, super, super stressed. I've spent the last couple hours poring over notes, over my FAM, over bulletins, and I've got a couple more days to do the same thing to prepare for our recurrent. I am super stressed, super anxious. Some of my coworkers are like, don't worry about it, it's easy. But one of my crew members on this last trip, she told me she failed recurrent last year, I think. And there was no recurrent training the next month, so she had to do it the month after, and then it took them a month to get her back in the system. So she was out of work for like 3 months because she missed a couple questions that she shouldn't have. So no stress, right? Oh my God. Yeah, so I'll be fine. I'm over preparing, so I should be fine. I know all of my drills. I know all of my emergency commands, so I should be good. But I'm probably not going to film anything until, at least until I pass recurrent. Maybe I'll film a little video letting you know what that was like. Until then, I will talk to you guys later. You have a great night and fly safe, okay? Bye. That wink is for you, Sophie.